What if I told you that your difficult childhood wasn't just pain and struggle, but actually gave you abilities that most people will never develop in their entire lives? If you survived a challenging childhood, whether it was neglect, abuse, instability, or any kind of adversity, you've probably spent years thinking something was wrong with you, that you were damaged, that you were somehow less than others. But here's what nobody tells you. While you were just trying to survive, you were developing a set of rare psychological superpowers, real abilities that give you an edge in adult life. Today, I'm revealing 6 hidden superpowers that survivors of difficult childhoods possess. Powers that are incredibly valuable, that others train for years to develop, and that you already have inside you. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand your past differently, you'll see yourself as the powerful person you truly are. And superpower number 6, that's the one that changes everything. So stay until the end because what I'm about to share will transform how you see yourself forever. Let's begin. The first superpower is hyper-awareness, or what I call the ability to read any room instantly. When you grew up in an unpredictable environment, your brain became a highly sophisticated radar system. You had to learn to detect danger, to read micro-expressions, to sense shifts in mood before they became explosive. Maybe you learned to know if it was a good day or bad day just by the sound of a door closing. Maybe you could feel tension in the air before a single word was spoken. Maybe you developed the ability to predict what someone needed before they even knew it themselves. This isn't paranoia. This is a finely tuned survival skill that is transformed into an incredible adult ability. In your professional life, this means you can walk into a meeting and immediately understand the dynamics. You know who has the real power, who's hiding something, who needs support. You can navigate office politics, difficult clients, and complex social situations with ease. In your personal relationships, you're deeply attuned to your partner's needs, your friends' struggles, and the unspoken emotions in any gathering. While most people stumble through social situations completely unaware, you're operating at a different level entirely. You see what others miss. You understand what others overlook. The key is learning to control this power, to turn it on when you need it and off when you don't, so it serves you instead of exhausting you. The second superpower is extreme adaptability, the ability to thrive in chaos and change. When your childhood was unstable, you learned something most people never master: how to function when everything is falling apart, how to find your footing when the ground keeps shifting. You became a master of improvisation. You learned to make do with what you had. You learned to rebuild. You learned to pivot. You learned to survive with limited resources and still find a way forward. Most people need stability. They need routine. They need predictability. When their world changes, they panic, they freeze, they collapse. But you've been training for uncertainty your entire life. In today's world, this is pure gold. We live in an era of constant change. Jobs disappear, industries transform, relationships end, plans fall apart. And while everyone else is having a breakdown, you're already 3 steps ahead, adapting, adjusting, finding the new path. You excel in startup environments. You thrive in crisis situations. You're the person people turn to when everything goes wrong because they know you won't fall apart. Career change. You've reinvented yourself before. Financial setback. You know how to rebuild from nothing. Unexpected loss. You understand how to grieve and keep moving. This isn't just resilience. This is a competitive advantage in a chaotic world. Where others see the end, you see a new beginning. The third superpower is deep empathy, an extraordinary ability to feel and understand what others are going through. Here's something beautiful that emerged from your pain. You know what it's like to suffer. You know what it's like to feel alone, misunderstood, invisible. And because of that, you have a rare capacity to sit with others in their darkness. You don't just sympathize from a distance, you genuinely empathize. You can be with someone in their worst moment without trying to fix them, without rushing them to feel better, without making it about you. This makes you an incredible friend, a trustworthy partner, a natural healer, someone people instinctively open up to because they can feel that you truly understand. In your career, this translates to exceptional leadership. The best leaders aren't the ones with all the answers. They're the ones who can connect with people, who can make others feel seen and heard, who can build real trust. Whether you're a therapist, a teacher, a manager, a parent, or simply a friend, this ability to genuinely understand human pain and meet people where they are is a gift that transforms lives. The challenge is learning boundaries. Because your empathy is so strong, you might absorb others' pain too easily. You might give until you're empty. Learning to protect your energy while still being compassionate is what turns this from a burden into your greatest strength. So those are the first three superpowers: hyper-awareness, extreme adaptability, and deep empathy. Already powerful, already valuable, already making you exceptional. But we're just getting started. The next three superpowers are even more profound. Before we continue, I want to ask you something important. If this video is speaking to you, if you're starting to see yourself differently, if you're recognizing these powers in yourself, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button right now. This channel is dedicated to helping people like us, people who've been through hard things, understand their strength, and use it intentionally. And give this video a like. It helps more survivors find this message and realize they're not broken, they're powerful. And here's the thing, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me which superpower resonates most with you so far. Is it the hyper-awareness, the adaptability, the empathy? Or are you waiting to see what the next three are? Your comment helps build a community of people who understand this journey. You're not alone in this. Now let's get to the next three superpowers because these are the ones that will absolutely blow your mind. The fourth superpower is strategic independence, the ability to rely on yourself completely. When you couldn't depend on the adults in your life, when you had to raise yourself in many ways, you developed something rare: true self-reliance. Not the toxic kind of independence that refuses all help, but the strategic kind that means, deep in your bones, that you can handle whatever life throws at you because you've already done it. You learn to solve your own problems. You learn to validate your own emotions. You learn to make decisions without needing constant approval. You learn to trust yourself when no one else was trustworthy. This shows up in adulthood as an incredible strength. While others are paralyzed, waiting for permission, waiting for someone to save them, waiting for the perfect conditions, you're already moving. You're not afraid to start a business alone. You're not afraid to move to a new city. You're not afraid to end a relationship that isn't serving you. You're not afraid to stand alone if that's what integrity requires. This doesn't mean you don't value relationships or collaboration. It means you come to relationships as a whole person, not a half person looking for someone to complete you. You're not needy. You're not desperate. You're not dependent on others for your sense of self. And that makes you magnetic. People are drawn to those who are whole within themselves. In a world full of people who can't make a decision without consulting 10 friends, who can't be alone with themselves, who collapse without constant external validation, your strategic independence is revolutionary. The fifth superpower is pattern recognition mastery, the ability to see connections and predict outcomes faster than others. When you grew up navigating complex, often dangerous situations, your brain became extraordinarily good at identifying patterns. You had to learn quickly. What behaviors led to what consequences? What situations were safe versus unsafe? What patterns predicted danger? This translated into an almost supernatural ability to see patterns everywhere, in people, in systems, in businesses, in relationships. You can often predict how a relationship will end based on how it begins. You can see red flags that others miss completely. You can identify toxic patterns in organizations, in friendships, in your own behavior. This makes you exceptional at strategic thinking. You're the person who sees problems coming before they arrive. You're the one who connects dots that seem unrelated to everyone else. You're the one who can look at a complex situation and quickly understand the underlying dynamics. In business, this makes you a natural strategist, analyst, or consultant. You can look at a company and see exactly where the problems are and what needs to change. In personal growth, this means you can identify your own patterns, your triggers, your cycles, and actually change them instead of repeating them unconsciously. The shadow side is that sometimes you see the problem so clearly that you become cynical or pessimistic. Learning to balance your pattern recognition with hope and possibility is the key. But make no mistake, in a world full of people who repeat the same mistakes over and over, your ability to learn from patterns and break cycles is extraordinary. And now we come to the sixth and most powerful superpower of all, transformational resilience. This isn't just the ability to bounce back. This is the ability to transform suffering into strength, pain into purpose, trauma into wisdom. You've been to the bottom. You've survived what would break many people. And not only did you survive, you're here, seeking understanding, seeking growth, seeking to become even stronger. That's not regular resilience. That's transformational resilience. Most people live their entire lives avoiding pain, running from difficulty, staying in their comfort zone. And because of that, they never develop real depth. They never develop real strength. They remain fragile, but you've been forged in fire. You know what it's like to lose everything and rebuild. You know what it's like to be broken and heal. You know what it's like to suffer and still choose to keep going. This gives you a depth of character that can't be taught in any school or learned from any book. It gives you a perspective on life that makes you wise beyond your years. You don't sweat the small stuff because you know what real problems look like. You don't take good days for granted because you remember the bad ones. You don't fear failure because you've already survived worse. And here's the most powerful part. You have the ability to help others transform their pain too. Because you've walked through the fire, you can guide others through it. Your story becomes medicine for others. This is why so many survivors become therapists, coaches, mentors, artists, writers, healers, because they've learned to take their deepest wounds and transform them into their greatest gifts. Your difficult childhood wasn't fair. It wasn't right. It wasn't your fault. But it did give you something, the raw materials for an extraordinary life. The question is, will you use these superpowers intentionally? Will you recognize them, develop them, and let them serve you and others? Because that's when everything changes. That's when you stop being a victim of your past and become the hero of your own story. So let's review these 6 hidden superpowers one more time. Number 1, hyper-awareness, the ability to read any room and understand people at a deep level. Number 2, extreme adaptability, the ability to thrive in chaos and change. Number 3, deep empathy, the capacity to truly understand and connect with others' suffering. Number 4, strategic independence, the ability to rely on yourself completely. Number 5, pattern recognition mastery, the ability to see connections and predict outcomes. And number 6, transformational resilience, the ability to turn pain into power and suffering into strength. These aren't just abstract concepts. These are real abilities that you possess right now, abilities that make you exceptional, abilities that the world desperately needs. The work now isn't to develop these powers. You already have them. The work is to recognize them, honor them, and use them consciously instead of unconsciously. Your difficult childhood doesn't define you, but it did shape you. And what it shaped is someone stronger, wiser, and more capable than you've probably given yourself credit for. You're not broken. You're not damaged. You're not less than. You're powerful in ways that most people will never understand. So if this video helped you see yourself differently, if it helped you recognize your own strength, I want you to do 2 things. First, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that subscribe button because we're building a community of people who understand this journey, who are committed to turning their pain into power, and who support each other in becoming the strongest version of themselves. Second, share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. You know someone who survived a difficult childhood, someone who thinks they're broken, someone who doesn't see their own strength. Yet, send this to them. It might be exactly what they need to hear today. And remember this. Your past prepared you for an extraordinary future. Those superpowers you developed, the world is waiting for you to use them. Thank you for being here. Thank you for surviving. Thank you for being willing to transform your pain into power. I'll see you in the next video.